Hello and welcome to this episode of Dreamers and Doers Women Living Their Dreams. I'm Carolina Stevens from Journey to Empowerment. I'm a certified life mastery consultant, and this was one of my dreams to bring to you inspiring women from all over the world who are living uncompromisingly, living their dreams, and in the process, making an amazing difference in the world. And so today I'm so excited to introduce you to an amazing lady all the way from Christchurch, New Zealand, who I've known for probably 20 or so years. She's incredibly knowledgeable, has empowered so many women, and she's also has a really cool sense of humor. So help me to welcome Sheryl Sutherland with Money, 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 Ain't It Funny? It's a Rich Man's World. Hi, Sheryl. Thank you so much for being here today.
Hi, Carolina. It's great fun to be here today. You know I love talking about the things that I have a passion about. So get started. Hit me with your first question.
Okay, I was thinking of introducing you briefly, just a little bit of so people get to know you, and then I hand the mic over. So,
Sure.
Yeah, so Sheryl is New Zealand's best kept secret. She's a one-of-a-kind investment advisor who over the last 30 years specialized in working closely with the investment clients to really understand their unique stories. I love that. Sheryl also has authored multiple best-selling books about money and investing, and she'll tell us about them later on. She has a diploma in financial planning from the Waikato University MBA School and also a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. Sheryl is a member of Zonta, a worldwide organization for advancing the status of women worldwide. Amazing, amazing what you do, Sheryl. And I always find it fascinating to hear the stories from successful women of how they found the thing that then becomes their passion and purpose in life. And so, where did it all start for you, Sheryl? Where did your interest in money and investment come from?
Probably quite a while ago when I was doing my first degree. At that time, banks wouldn't loan to women, and a group of Balti women, including myself, got together and we were going to approach a bank and say, look, this is absolutely wrong. We did, and it failed completely. At about the same time, I went to get a student loan. It had to be guaranteed by a man, so that didn't make me feel very much better at all. As I progressed through my degree, I wrote a thesis, and the thesis was about Charlotte Bronte, Jane Eyre, and in that I wrote about how independent Jane was, how she wanted to be her own woman, how she wouldn't just take money from Rochester, from those of you who are familiar with the book, and how she went away and did her own thing. So when I was reading other works around this based or written in Victorian times, the more I read, the more I realised that really our situations haven't changed that much financially. We're still only earning 80% of men's wages. And this relates back even to medieval times where women were only earning 70 to 80% of men's wages. The idea then was that women didn't need to earn any more money because they ate less than men. This was truly the theory. I didn't make this up. It is so weird. So that's kind of what started me off. And when I finished that degree, then I thought, women today need financial help, and offshore, my Australian mates were starting to market to women, talk to women about money, help them set up financial plans. And I thought, great idea, I'll do that. So that was basically the genesis.
Yeah, wonderful. That's amazing. But then you were probably in a man's world of investment advisors. There wouldn't have been many women at the time, right, Sheryl?
No, there weren't. You would go to conferences and you would be the only woman. The other few handful of women that were there were usually secretaries there, or there to support the ego or whatever. Not their ego, obviously, their male companion's ego. In fact, I was told the first conference I went to that I wouldn't succeed because I was a woman and this was a man's business. So I've had some interesting experiences along the way. I got an award. Well, I had a few, but this particular award, the guy handed me the award and went to kiss me, and I said, just a minute, you didn't kiss any of the men, don't kiss me. And the whole room went into like horrified silent mode. And then later on, one of the women came up to me, ladies' room, privately, and said, that was amazing. I wish more women would do that sort of thing. And I'm thinking, well, why at the time did you not stand up and you know, applaud even? Yeah, that sort of thing. The other conference I went to, one guy came up to me and he said, you look pretty. Whose secretary are you? And the guy standing next to him knew me and he said, don't you know who she is? So that was kind of a little backhanded compliment, I think. Not sure. But, you know, so those sorts of incidents, which pretty much everybody who's watching this will be familiar with. And it's kind of like the whole Me Too movement where women have been put down in many, many ways, mentally, emotionally, physically. So that's just been part of the 30 years that I've been through. Now I think it's pretty covert. I don't see too many men being terribly sexist, but I do find it a little awkward talking to a woman who has some financial knowledge. That's my experience.
Yeah, wow. So you're really a pioneer, you know, in really to turn the whole culture and belief system around in New Zealand. And so it must have been pretty challenging for you at the time to deal with those sexist comments and they're being looked down at. How did you deal with those challenges, Sheryl?
I called it some days, to be quite honest. I mean, we're not all 100%, I'm not going to bother me and just let it sail over your head. One of the best things I actually ever did was learn TM, Transcendental Meditation, and that helped a lot to cope with the rubbish. And I just kept on doing my own thing.
Yeah, wonderful. Wow, this is so inspiring because how many people would have backed off or would have shied away, but it seemed to even fuel more of the passion and fire inside of you.
Well, I'm pretty stubborn, Carolina.
Yeah. And so, Sheryl, tell us a little bit about how specifically you help women, because you're not just an investment advisor. You also help women in their mindset in lots of other ways. So I would love to hear about that.
Okay. Well, what I do is probably a lot of strategy work, because before you make financial decisions, you need to have some idea about what's going on in your brain, why your attitude the way they are. So I do talk a lot about, and one of my books that I wrote was about behavioural finance. So about the biases that you have, about the experiences you've had in the past and how they might be reflecting on your current behaviour, how you can overcome them. Things like identifying money myths as well. Women really are on the back foot when it comes to investment, even now. And a lot of financial challenges we face, like we have what I would call points of pain. A lot of women are still confused about finance and investment issues. And one of the things I hear a lot is, I don't know anything about maths. Well, that's not really got a lot to do with making financial decisions, in all honesty. And one of the other points of pain for us is we need more money because we live longer than men. So we need more money for our retirement. Often we're intimidated by the financial world because we don't talk to our mates about money, don't go and play golf and lean on the bar and yak about, you know, the latest investment and stuff like that to our peers. So that can be intimidating. And in addition, often women are talked to about money. I was talking to someone the other day and about her insurances, and she said, oh, I'm not interested in that. My husband does all that sort of thing. You know, I had one of those moments, but that was okay. That was her life and there wasn't much I can do about it. The other issue we have too is we want to look after our family before we want to look after ourselves. So we tend, rather than looking after ourselves financially, to be paying for the new carpet, shoes for the children, school fees, where the partner may not make such a contribution. And the other issue, of course, is, as I mentioned before, we have much less money than men. We're earning only about 80% of what men earn. Property ownership, again, we're way down. According to the World Economic Forum, we only own about 24% of the world's assets. That's not very much. We actually only earn about 10% of the world's income. Of course, this is taking in third world countries, but even so, it's not a good look. So this obviously impacts greatly on what we do, because money is the thing that keeps us all functional. Now, I realise many people are saying this is crass. What about the spiritual life? But let's put it this way, money does help you enjoy a better class of misery. There's no doubt about it. So the other issue we have with women, often if you've been recently divorced, your income drops, you're laughing, you have the comment you want to make there. Go for it, darling.
And
you have experience or knowledge.
There's a little delay. No, I have experience in being divorced and having to pick myself back up again. So I can relate.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm meaning. Yeah, sure. And often then with all this background of women receive an inheritance or a lump sum, it's frightening because we don't know what to do with it. So those are kind of some main points that I've talked to my woman clients about. And then obviously, as I said earlier, we go into like the psychology strategies, how you can get out of debt, how you can overcome your biases, how you can plan for the future.
This is exactly the kind of work that I also support my clients with, the stuff that happens between our ears, our conditioning that we bring in from the past. Like in my family as well, my dad, he was working, he made the money. And so I never, as an adult, took really responsibility for my money. I had never learned it, and I always fobbed it off. And so at the end, it ended up to me losing everything, which was the best thing that ever happened, because then I had to learn to take responsibility. And it sounds like that's what you're helping your clients do.
Indeed. Well, like you, when I was growing up, my parents never talked about money. What I knew was they used to shut the bedroom door and there'd be a lot of shouting, and I knew it would be about money. And that was kind of my money education.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of fear also around money. We don't want to have anything to do with it because there's a lot of trauma and loss and conflict.
Exactly. And one of the things I wrote about one of my books is how we refer to money. I mean, we talk about dirty money. Money is the root of all evil. It's all negative. But as I say to my clients, money does not have an emotion. It does not have a personality. All it is there for is to help you to look after yourself and your loved ones. Yourself first, I usually add.
I love that, Sheryl. I love that. And I would like to hear would you be willing to share a couple of mindset hacks or some strategies that you help your clients with overcoming the mindset issues?
Well, actually, there are 3 things I get women to do, and these might sound a little bit out there. First of all, I ask women to write a statement in relation to their financial life. Then I ask them to write an obituary, so that how they would like to be perceived when they die, and this, of course, will include how they were financially, how they looked after their money. And the third thing is I want them to write a letter to their best friend saying, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm behaving, and this is how well I'm looking after myself. And that is something I haven't had anybody who hasn't struggled with that. It's really, really hard because you have to say good things about yourself and good things about how you handle money. And we tend not to do that because as women, we're socialized into thinking we're not very good at anything. Whereas, quite frankly, I don't think we're better than men. I think we're better.
Yeah, I think that and our beliefs, they limit what we can experience in our lives. And so I love those things. I love the obituary. I love the idea of that. And so the last one was, I didn't quite catch it. We were breaking up a bit, but it was a letter writing it to our best friend, did you say?
Our best friend, telling our best friend what we were doing financially and how well we were doing. Because again, you might talk to your best friend about sex, Carolina, but you won't talk to them about money. And this is quite a hard task. Yeah.
Yeah, you're turning the whole culture around. I love it. You're really challenging your clients to go deep.
Yes,
Not
indeed.
just, yeah.
Yes, indeed.
And to create a healthy relationship with money. And there are 3 great exercises for our viewers. If you want to turn your relationship with money around, this is something you could experiment with.
Mm. One of the things that fascinated me a little while ago, I was listening to an interview with Oprah, and she said she was frightened. She didn't know what to do with her money, and she had something like $7 million stashed away around her house in cash. I thought, oh my God, bag lady syndrome. She's worried she's going to lose it all. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's not really part of the story. I thought it was funny.
No, it is. It's true,
she's the woman who's got knowledge.
The thing is, even if we have a lot of money, but our mindset is one of scarcity and fear around money, we can't enjoy our money. We do what you just said, especially when we're worried about it. So really what it sounds like, what your objective is to help women have peace of mind and empowerment around money.
The issue is, if you've got your financial life organised, you can get on with the rest of your life. You don't have to be worried about it. So you have your insurances set up, you have your retirement planning set up, you've got your little bit of money in the bank for a rainy day, and away you go. Having said that, at the moment, things are not looking good for women. One of my favourite writers has just sent me an article, and it's entitled, "It Seems Like We're Always in a She Session," as opposed to a recession.
Okay, I missed the first part. We're always in a what session?
She session. S-H-E, she session, as opposed to a recession. And what he's talking about are the things that I'm talking about. That is that we don't earn enough money, we don't have assets, and COVID in particular has been very cruel to women worldwide, because women have been the ones who have lost jobs, reduced incomes. We've had to look after sick relatives, parents, children. We've had to educate. We've had to support the household. Here in New Zealand, our government support, for example, applied only to male occupations, that is digging ditches, construction and so forth, whereas the vast majority of people who lost their jobs were women. Now, not very many women want builders or dig ditches. So the areas that weren't supported by the government here were things like learning about IT, going back to university and doing a degree. People had to pay their student loans for that. They weren't free. So this, to me, talks about entrenched sexism within our political structures, despite the fact we've got a female prime minister.
And it's 2021. This is amazing.
Exactly.
So we still have a long way to go, huh?
Yeah. Some of the figures that I've looked at say that women will finally achieve equality in something like 2053. They're talking about financial and legal equality here worldwide. So it's a long way to go. I think I'll be dead by then, but I can certainly do my bit now.
Yeah, and you sure are doing it. So what would you say to a woman these days in our situation and conditions, how to create wealth and abundance in her life? What's a key piece of advice?
Firstly, focus on yourself. Secondly, if you can, if you're able to, educate yourself. A lot of people, women, however, are caught by the family trap, husband trap, by looking after everybody trap. And often you can't step outside and see what you could be capable of, what you could do. It might cost you money, it might cost you years, but it's certainly worth it. Once you have a better education, and a lot of us are educated, you can get a better job and you can earn more money. And to do things, and this is not my field, like asking for raises. We don't ask for raises the same way men do, for example. So we need to be far more assertive, I think, in our financial lives. And again, education, 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 always.
Mm-hmm. That is such great advice, to really focus on ourselves, to educate ourselves, make up for all the education we didn't get when we were growing up, and then we're opening up to new possibilities, new opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So Sheryl, would you like
when
to
I was
share?
growing up,
Okay, you go.
I was just going to say, when I was growing up, I was told that I didn't need to go to university because I was only going to get married. Now, that wasn't that long ago, really. So that sort of attitude is certainly still around, I think. Sorry, you were going to ask me a question and I interrupted.
No, it's a little delay here. So, yeah, so it's really up to us as women to take our financial power back. We can't expect for anybody to hand it to us, right? It's for us to educate ourselves, to focus on it, and know that we are just as capable as anybody else, any man out there, and that we're worth just as much. And start to be assertive and ask for what we're worth.
I couldn't agree more.
And so, Sheryl, that brings me. And sorry.
Sorry, there's a delay there.
Yeah. So, Sheryl, I was going to ask you about your books. You've written 3 best-selling books. Would you like to share a little bit, because that's about education? So there are books that are available. So any viewers here, they could get those books and make a start to educate themselves more.
Okay, they're all available on as an ebook now because they're out of print. The first book is called Girls Just Want to Have Funds, and it's like a basic premise, so that's a really good place to start. The second book is Money, Money, Money Ain't It Funny, and it's my personal favourite. It's all about behavioural finance. It's all about biases, overcoming your biases, what they are, what you need to be doing, and how to think as rationally as possible about money. In fact, one of my clients accused me once upon a time of being far too rational, and I said to him, I think that's my job. And the third book, Tax Smart, I co-wrote with an accountant because I wanted someone to boring bits, and that relates to running a small business and things like that.
Okay, well, you're covering a lot of ground there, from the beginners 101, finance 101 to running a business. So that's fantastic. And I'm going to put the titles into the notes. So yeah, any of our viewers can just jump online and get them. Yeah. And so what's on the horizon for you, Sheryl?
Just more of the same, really. I love what I'm doing, and I'm just really, really enjoying life. And now that I'm over 21, I don't worry about what people think. I do exactly what I like, I dress how I like, I go where I like. So, what could be better?
I love this. This is so empowering, because so much of my life in the past has spent about worrying what other people think, and it costs so much energy. What a waste of energy, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And so how can you, I know you're located in Christchurch, New Zealand, how can you support our viewers in the US or in other parts of the world?
as I said, I do a lot of financial coaching. So for the areas where I can't say to you, invest in this, that, or the next thing, I can do financial coaching for you, help you with the head stuff, because once you've got that clarified, you're 80% of the way. So we set up structures. We talk about your relationship with money. We talk about gender and investment styles, because if you've got a partner you're not well with financially, that needs to be dealt with. Money psychology, identifying your biases, whether you're overconfident or whether you've got whether you regret things you've done financially and you're carrying this burden with you all the through into your present and future. So we can identify all those sorts of things. We write them down. They're all part of a report, and that's something that people can take away and then go ahead and do their actual financial investment with a qualified registered advisor in their own country.
Yeah, this is amazing. I've never actually heard of financial investors to deal with all the psychological stuff. I think that is so cool that you're doing this, Sheryl.
Yes, it's very important, very important. A lot of advisors don't utilize this at all. They will just say, you need this structure and put your money there and you'll be great. But if somebody's uncomfortable with doing that, and if they're awake at 2 o'clock in the morning worrying about that or something else that you don't know about, they're not going to be happy. They're not going to be comfortable. And then you're not going to have a client or a person that you care about who's at peace with themselves and at peace with their financial lives.
It sounds like you're creating really personal and really deep relationships with their clients, and they're probably long-term relationships, right?
Yes. I get surveys done every 2 years, and I'm ranked actually against international advisors, and I'm pretty much up there in the top 10%. And when my clients have been asked to refer me to anybody, I've had 100% yes. So, yeah, it's really cool.
What a beautiful feedback, Yeah, you're pouring your heart and soul into this, and you're getting beautiful feedback. So, yeah, that's wonderful. Would you mind, I don't know whether it's appropriate, but to share a case study, somebody who started with you and then, many years later where they're at now? I don't know. Is that something, you have something up from the top of your head that you could share?
Well, I can think of someone in particular. I don't name any names, but this person came to me after a marital breakup, invested $40 a month. It was all 30 years ago, and now has an extremely large portfolio, is retired, and is living off a wonderful income. So she made some very good decisions along the way, and I loved helping her. She's a lovely person. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. And this is so really insightful, because sometimes when we think investing, we think, oh my gosh, I have to have like $100,000 to start investing. But here you're saying she started with $40 a week. I mean, most of us would be able to do this. A month. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So for all of our viewers out there, for all of our viewers out there, we just start somewhere, wherever we can start, but we can, and then they grow, and especially with an expert guiding us and taking care of the investment. Yeah, beautiful. Retiring with and being relaxed and enjoying retirement rather than worrying about money, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh man, it sounds like such beautiful work, Sheryl. I'm so happy that you're here and sharing this. And so, how can interested women or men get in touch with you, Sheryl?
I should probably say I do have some very brave men as clients, and they seem to find me quite acceptable. Just go to the website. If you want to make contact, there's a little box there you can fill in and say, please contact me. And we always do. We're very quick on the mark at getting back to people. And you can see the website there at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, exactly. On the banner, the website is you can see that. And so
Yeah.
one more question, Cheryl. So you totally passionate about what you're doing. You love what you do, and there are many women or people out there that really feel unfulfilled with their job and they hate their work. What was a piece of advice would tell them?
Leave your job. Yes. What can I say? That's beyond my expertise, Carolina. I'm not a career advice person, but I mean, if you're unhappy, don't stay there. Don't stay there. Just keep looking. Keep looking.
Yeah. Beautiful. And yeah, and we can empower ourselves to even start to open our minds to new possibilities and to start to look. So yeah, I love this piece of advice. So is there any last thoughts that you would like to share with our audience, Cheryl, before we bring it for landing?
I don't think so. I think we've probably covered pretty much everything.
Yeah, so I want to thank you so much, Cheryl. This was so super interesting. It was you shared so much wisdom and so many actionable items that we can actually take away and put into practice. And it's so empowering to hear you start about investing $40 a month. I mean, hello. Yeah, so we most of us will be able to do that. So thank you so much, Cheryl. I really appreciate your time and sharing your expertise and encourage many of our audience to contact Cheryl if you want some financial coaching. I love Cheryl. She's awesome, and I know she will really take good care of you. And so, if you, for our audience, if you have any dreams or anything, any changes that you want to make in your life, this is my passion, my purpose. If you have any dreams that you want to realize, and so my email address is also on the banner floating on the screen. And so, just send me an email, and we can set up a time to just have a conversation and see where you're at, where you would love to be, and how we can get you there. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And I look forward to seeing you again next week for an amazing session. And once again, thank you so much, Cheryl. It was such a joy to have you on the show.
You're welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
You're so welcome. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.